Is it okay to keep things from your partner? Most people immediately say no, but I actually think the answer is a little bit more complicated than what people may be thinking. Today, let's talk about the difference between secrecy and privacy. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. As always, I am Matt from Cleveland Sex Therapy. I'm a licensed clinical therapist and ASECT certified sex therapist. And yes, my arm is still in a sling. Before we begin, if you enjoy sex positive, research driven, and shame reducing content all around sex and relationships, make sure you hit subscribe. Today, we're talking about one of the most misunderstood concepts in relationships: the difference between privacy and secrecy. I hear people say all the time, if you have nothing to hide, you should have no problem sharing everything. While I understand where that sentiment comes from, I actually don't think it's healthy whatsoever in relationships. And the fact that everyone thinks relationships require complete transparency is wild to me. There is something that is a little bit more important that shows up in relationships: trust. Understanding the difference between privacy and secrecy can help couples build that trust without feeling like they have to sacrifice their individuality. One of the biggest myths about relationships is that becoming a couple or a polycule or anything outside of just being single means giving up your right to privacy. It doesn't. Every healthy relationship consists of two or more individuals who still deserve their own thoughts, feelings, friendships, hobbies, and internal experiences. You're allowed to have a journal that your partner doesn't read. You're allowed to have conversations with a friend that remain between the two of you. You're allowed to process your emotions before you're ready to talk about them. None of those things automatically threaten a relationship. In fact, they're often signs that the people in the relationship still respect each other's autonomy. Privacy, it protects individuality. It says, this belongs to me, and that's okay. Privacy isn't about creating distance, it's about maintaining healthy boundaries. Just because you love someone doesn't mean they are entitled to every thought that enters your mind or every conversation you have. Healthy intimacy is built on voluntary sharing, not forced disclosures. Secrecy is different. Secrecy usually exists because someone believes the information would significantly affect the relationship if it were known. It often involves intentional concealment, deception, or omissions designed to keep a partner from making an informed decision. Notice that secrecy isn't simply about not sharing something, it's about actively hiding something because you're afraid of the consequences of your partner finding out. Here's an example. Imagine someone secretly opens a credit card and accumulates thousands of dollars in debt without telling their spouse. Or someone begins an emotional affair with a coworker and deletes text messages so they won't be discovered. Maybe someone is using dating apps while telling their partner they're committed to monogamy. Those are not examples of privacy. Those are examples of secrecy, because the hidden information directly affects the relationship and the other person's ability to make informed choices. One question I often encourage couples or polycules to ask themselves is this: who is this information protecting? If keeping something private primarily protects your own autonomy without harming your partner, it may simply be privacy. If keeping it hidden protects you from accountability while potentially harming your partner or violating an agreement, it's much more likely to be secrecy. Another helpful question is, would my partner reasonably want or need to know this in order to make informed decisions about our relationship? Notice I didn't say, would they want to know? Of course they might want to know every thought that you've ever had. They love you. The better question is whether they need that information because it affects their emotional, physical, financial, or relational well-being. If the answer is yes, withholding it might become much more problematic. This conversation becomes especially important when we think about relationship agreements. Every couple has them, whether they've talked about them or not. Maybe it's an agreement about monogamy, maybe it's about finances, maybe it's about pornography, flirting, social media, or spending time with an ex. Privacy exists within those agreements. Secrecy often violates them. That's why it's important. That's why it's so important to actually discuss your expectations instead of assuming your partner sees things exactly the way you do. I also want to acknowledge that this conversation isn't always black and white. Sometimes people keep secrets because they're scared. They fear rejection, conflict, judgment, or losing the relationship altogether. Understanding why someone kept a secret can be an important part of healing. However, understanding the reason doesn't automatically remove the impact. Intent and impact are two different things. You can empathize with why someone did something while also recognizing that the secrecy that happened damaged the trust. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today's video, it's this. Healthy relationships are not built on knowing everything about each other. They're built on creating an environment where people feel safe enough to share what truly matters. Privacy honors individuality. Secrecy undermines trust. Learning the difference can completely change the way we think about honesty, boundaries, and intimacy. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between privacy and secrecy? Let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who you think might benefit from it. Until next time.